For centuries, people in Mongolia have led a nomadic lifestyle, moving across the steppe, a vast grass-covered plain with their herds. Many people are still herders of livestock, moving with their herds as they graze. The life of the nomads has not changed very much since the old days, except that nowadays the herders like to use iron horses, meaning motorbikes, instead of real horses. Very few people have telephones, television, or access to computers, but most people can read. There is almost no illiteracy in this country. Jambin Dashdondug, a well-known writer of children's books of Mongolia, he was looking for a way to bring books to the many children of herders' families who live scattered across the Gobi Desert. A horse-drawn wagon, as well as a camel, is used to carry books into the desert. Mongolian readers are reading a book right in their library. Together with the Mongolian Children's Cultural Foundation, Mr. Dashdondug was able to obtain a minibus and 10,000 books, mostly donated by Japan. The Japanese books are being translated into Mongolian, and Mr. Dashdondug makes trips with the minibus to bring the books to children in the countryside. The book tour is called Amtenom, which means candy books. Why? Because before they share the books, the children are given foods, including some sweets. After the children listen to stories and choose books, Mr. Dashdondug asks, which was sweeter, books or candies? And the children always answer, books. I just returned from a trip to visit herders' children in the Great Gobi Desert, says Mr. Dashdondug, who has visited nearly 10,000 children in the past 2 years. We discovered some 1,500 kilometers in 2 weeks, and this was in winter, so it was cold and snowy. We had no winter fuel for our bus, so we had to use summer fuel, and the fuel froze at night, making the bus stall. But we weren't cold. The stories and their heroes kept us warm. Mongolia, capital Ulaanbaatar, estimated population 2,300,000. Mongolia is a vast country in Northeast Asia, more than 1.5 million square kilometers in size. With fewer than 2.5 million people living in it, there is lots of empty space throughout the land. The official language is Khalkh Mongol. To preserve traditional culture and traditions, children are being taught the old Cyrillic Mongolian script, which is written vertically from top to bottom. The country has high mountain ranges as well as a vast desert plains, with the Gobi Desert in the southeast. Snow leopards, wild horses, and ibex still roam the Gobi Desert. Most of the roads that run through Mongolia are unpaved and rough. The climate is one of extremes, cold in winter, hot and very dry in summer. Even 5,000 years ago, nomadic people lived in the area we now call Mongolia. The country has been in existence since the 13th century when Genghis Khan conquered a huge part of Europe and Asia. The boundaries have often changed under the rule of China and Russia. Since 1924, the Mongolian People's Republic has been an independent country with its own constitution. Mid-Unit 3 Assessment Part 1. Using text evidence to determine the main idea, accessing books around the world. Name and date. Text title, Mongolia. Who is this passage about? What does he, she, it do? What physical features in this country make it difficult for people to access books? Use details from the text. Name at least 2. How do people overcome these difficulties to access books? Use details from the text. Name at least 2. After looking closely at the details, what do you think the main idea of this text is? Number 1. What are 2 ways that children in Mongolia access books? Use details from the text to support your answer. Number 2. When Mr. Dashdondug asks the children if books or candy are sweeter, the children always answer books. Why do you think they answer this way? Use evidence from the text to support your answer. Part A. The text says, for centuries, people who lived in Mongolia have led a nomadic lifestyle, moving across the steppe, a vast covered plain with their herds. What does the word nomadic in this sentence mean? Use context clues to figure out the meaning. A. Non-moving. B. Motionless. C. Wandering. D. Settled. Number 4, Part B. Why did you choose your answer to Part A? Use details or clues from the text to support your answer choice.